Is it true that the track was accidentally leaked?
I don't actually remember the track being leaked, but it was. You know who he was.
Yeah.
How deep is your love? How deep is your love?
Yo, this is Disciples.
And this is the story of
How deep is your love? Well, I've known Gavin for probably more than 20 years now, I'd say. I went to college with him.
we were kind of the only two people that were into like urban or dance music. Everyone else on the course was into like rock or like band music or heavy metal.
In our lunchtime, we make beats separately, but like he'd be remaking 50 Cents in the club and I'll be remaking like Donald Jones, You Know What's Up.
After school, there was a lot of badness, there was a lot of trouble, and my mother said over the 6 weeks period, I need to put you into a summer school. So when this came around, it was very good for me as a person and a good outlet for me. So I met Nathan there and he was doing work experience at the time.
At the end of the course, you had to do a show and then his whole crew just kind of shut down the show, literally. Like literally the building erupted. I met him again like 4 years later and again, he just had this star quality. So I was like, okay, let's see where this can go. And then I introduced him to Gav.
Something just kind of clicked. I don't really know what it was. It was just kind of obvious to all of us that we needed to just carry on doing it. And then after like working on each other's like first EPs or whatever it is, like first batch of music, we're like, why don't we just make this a thing? Why don't we just make this a group?
The name came up later because we work out my studio in Shoreditch. And every time I went to go and get lunch and stuff, I'd make everyone come with me so I could lock the room. And at one point, I remember I was walking in front of the other two and I snapped a picture and I said, oh, my disciples are following me. And then we were joking about that name for ages and then it actually just stuck.
Unless we just take ages to come on stage. We played the intro twice.
I
That's
want
what
you
we
to
did.
breathe me.
So our old management team that we were with said, there's this writer called Ina Rolson, we want you guys to work with them. We got in, we bought a bottle of Prosecco for her, all going Christy, it was amazing. We played some beats, played some house tunes, and she was like, nice, really nice. And then she said, I'm going to the toilet. About 5 minutes later, we got a call and they said, what's going on? Ina doesn't want to do the session. What have you guys said? What have you guys done? She came downstairs and it was something, it was like a film. She looked at us, we looked at her, and it was so awkward. But then she was like, no, it's not you guys, it's not you. I've never done a house song, I don't really like house music, etc., etc. We was like, chill, man. We're just gonna chill, we're just gonna make some music, see how you adapt to it. And then she chilled a little bit, then we got into the record. And the first day we were with her, it was over 2 days, we made a song called Jealousy. And then it was How Deep Is Your Love on the second day.
The basis of the song was kind of done within probably about 45 minutes. I think the depth came from a sound and a style that really connects to all four of us.
How deep is your love?
So I remember having the old Tower Mac with Logic 7. Chord-wise, I would just use the standard Logic piano because I didn't actually have other plugins to give me better pianos. Gav flew in some incredible drums which actually helped the record at the time. The lyrics mostly came from Ina. We were guiding her in certain spaces. She would kind of be intricately writing on her own and then she would come up with something and she'd kind of wait for our nod of approval and we were giving her like the energy to keep going. And we didn't actually redo any takes, it was one take on an old mic, like an old terrible SE mic which doesn't even exist anymore, and we didn't recut the vocal or anything. It was like, that's it. Our label didn't want to release it as well. Like, it sat on our hard drive for 2 years. 2 years because they weren't sure whether to change the vocalist, and we were adamant that we have to keep Ina on it because we were there at the time it was recorded. They didn't understand the power in that one take that we did, so we're not going to change it. We actually ended up releasing other records and standing firm on that.
How deep is your love? Is it like the ocean? What devotion are you? How deep is your love? Is it like Nirvana? Hit me harder again.
The collaboration with Calvin came around from me and Gavin being signed to his publishing label. We got a phone call saying Calvin's going to be at Roundhouse. He wants to meet you guys.
He was like, yeah, look, I'm going back to LA tomorrow, but I'm here, let's work, like send me some music, let's start the kind of process. Normally what I would do in those situations is I'd tip my entire hard drive into an email and just send it over. I just didn't send anything. Yeah, it was a few weeks or a month later, I think, that we were working on How Deep Is Your Love. I sent him the demo and was just like, you know, what do you think of this? Not really thinking he's gonna even get back. And then the next day he was like, oh, this is amazing.
You know what? You know, he's been running around like a madman on the ground.
Mr. Lucas Maximus.
This guy, he's been putting it all together.
If it weren't for the team, we all come up with the idea. It's just crazy. It's how it's actually come to life. That's what's the most craziest thing out of everything.
When Calvin got to How Deep Is Your Love, he kind of turned it into something we weren't, but in a good way. It kind of like stretched us. He's a genius, I think. Like some of the things he says, I just don't get them until I hear it, and I'm like, oh, I wish I thought of that. Like, how did you even hear that? I mean, I remember us arguing about certain things, politely arguing, of course.
You know, you can't get to that sort of level without, you know, having a great ear, but also being quite brutal. So, you know, he knows what he likes, he knows what's good, he knows what's needed, and the rest of it can fuck off.
Is it true that the track was accidentally leaked?
I don't actually remember the track being leaked, but it was. You know who he was.
Yeah.
When the record first got released, it was an instant buzz. Tiesto done an edit, Swedish House Mafia done an edit, Martin Garrix, all the EDM DJs had it. The vocal had just popped straight away, so people were like, what record is that? Like, where can I get it, etc., etc. And then found out it was Calvin. The edits really helped the first week because so many DJs just latched onto it and made their own.
It was all just a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest. Like the whole 6 months was a whirlwind. If I think back to the initial stage, the first thing I remember is when he introduced it for the first time on, like, I think it was Radio 1. And he introed the tune, and you know, the first time hearing your tune with Calvin Harris on the radio while sitting in your car it's a crazy surreal moment.
I just remember like speaking to Gavin Luke on many different occasions and just saying like, I think this is gonna go. And lo and behold, it did, it just kept on growing.
How deep is your love? How deep is your love?
I remember the first time I saw it, for whatever reason I was talking to Calvin at the time, and he was like, oh, by the way, have you seen the music video? I was like, I didn't know it was even being recorded, to be honest with you. And then he was like, oh, here it is, and he sent it over. I remember just sitting there, like looking at this music video with Gigi Hadid. It was just a little bit of a surreal moment, really, like seeing that glossy video just in my little box studio.
But then to win the VMA for that video, I was like blown away by how someone else saw this song, took it to their vision, and then created a masterpiece which then picked up an award. And I just remember thinking, this song is not going to quit. From the video to the actual audio files to everything, it just seems like everything's falling into place.
So I wish I was in the video. I would have had to go gym for a bit too long for all that business, man. It's a bit much. I let people do what they're good at, man.
How deep is your love?
When the song started hitting the charts, we were stuck at this position. We were at number 2 in the UK, like more than 6 weeks. And the number 1 would change every week. It would be like Ellie or Ed Sheeran or Sam Smith. It'd just change and then they would drop and we'd just stick at number 2. But then I was thinking, you know what? Sustaining at 2 for more than 6 weeks and then continuing in the charts for multiple weeks after. Looking back on it, it was fine. And then, yeah, like realizing that it was number 1 in like other countries as well, which then allowed us to then travel to those countries and perform. I mean, it opened up our world like you would never believe.
My whole life changed, which was great. So did my bank account. We went from traveling and doing one show in Brighton or Manchester and small events where it was just a smoke-filled room with no people in it to literally doing shows at Halloween, at MGM Grand with Calvin. That was one of my fondest memories, to be honest. When he told me to come on stage with him, I think the boys already went to bed. They were drinking too much. But I was just watching his set, and when he played How Deep Is Your Love, he looked around for us and he could see me. He said, come on stage. And he literally was just me and him dancing to the song. And that was one of those moments in life where you know, I think I've made it.
He's making his U.S. television debut with us tonight, performing his latest hit, How Deep Is Your Love, with Disciples, featuring Ina Rolson on vocals. Give it up for Calvin Harris!
A big moment was when we performed it at Jimmy Fallon with Calvin. I think it was his first TV performance, and it was kind of like the final thing that we did as part of that release promo. So that was a very surreal moment, and it was kind of mad because it was like a sort of little bit of a full stop, like we were all together. Yeah, it just was quite a special moment, you know.
And I just remember Calvin or Jimmy Fallon mentioning our name to national TV in America and just thinking, did he just say who we are? On national TV in America, that's crazy.
What devotion are you? How deep is your love? Till I Nirvana, hit me under again. How deep is your love?
When people think it's more Calvin's release than ours, you know what, I'm like, yeah, cool. We know what we did on the record. I'm happy that we've even got our name in the hat, to be fair.
A lot of things have changed for me. I know a lot of things have changed for the boys. So if I hear it on the radio now, I could be in the car and they would be like, next up, Calvin Harris, How Deep Is Your Love? I'll take that all day long.
When I hear How Deep Is Your Love, I do smile internally. I'm just like, I think it's because of what it did for us. There's a deeper meaning behind it.
It still blows my mind that we kind of accomplished something like that. And you know, it's one of those tunes that has kind of stood the test of time.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited every time I hear it. The fact that people come up to us and tell us that that record is a staple in history. When the Bee Gees had How Deep Is Your Love, my mum and dad will remember that era. When you talk about How Deep Is Your Love now, people will remember Calvin Harris and Disciples, and that song will live on, hopefully forever.